A te solo, buon Signore, si confanno gloria e onore, a te ogni laude e benedizione, a te solo si confanno che l'Altissimo tu sei, e non l'uomo degno è temento vare. Sii laudato mio Signore con le tue creature, specialmente frate sole la sua luce. Tu ci illumini di lui, che bellezza e splendore, di te altissimo Signore porta il segno. Sii laudato mio Signore per sorella luna e stelle, che tu in cielo le hai formate, chiare e belle. Sii laudato per frate vento, aria, nuvole e maltempo, che alle tue creature dan sostentamento. Sii laudato mio Signore per sorella nostra acqua, ella è casta, molto utile e preziosa. Sii laudato per frate fuoco, che ci illumina la notte, ed è bello, giocondo e robusto e forte. Sii laudato mio Signore per la nostra madre terra, ella è che ci sostenta e governa. Sii laudato mio Signore, vari frutti lei produce, molti fiori coloriti e verde l'erba. Sii laudato per coloro che perdonano per il tuo amore, sopportando infermità e tribolazione. E beati siano coloro che cammineranno in pace, che da te, buon Signore, avran corona. Sii laudato mio Signore per la morte corporale, che da lei nessun che vive può scappare, e beati saranno quelli nella tua volontà, che sorella morte non gli farà male. Sii laudato mio Signore per la morte corporale, che da lei nessun che vive può scappare, e beati saranno quelli nella tua volontà, che sorella morte non gli farà male. I try to translate. To you only, good Lord, are appropriate glory and honor. To you every praise and benediction. They befit only you, because you are the highest. And no man is worthy even to mention you. Be praised you, my Lord, with all your creatures, especially Brother Sun and his light. You give light to us through him. Which is beauty and splendor of you, the highest Lord. He brings the sign. Be praised, my Lord, for Sister Moon and the stars, which you put in the sky, and you shape them so clear, so beautiful. Be you praised for Brother Wind, the air, the clouds, and the bad weather, by which to your creature you give support. Be praised, my Lord, for our sister water, which is chaste, very useful and precious. Be you praised for Brother Fire, by which you give light to us in the night, and it is beautiful, happy, and strong. Be you praised, my Lord, for our Mother Earth, It is the earth that supports and feeds us. Be you praised, my Lord. So many fruits it produces, many flowers, many colored flowers, and green the grass. Be you praised for those who forgive because of your love, by bearing sickness and tribulations. And blessed are those which we walk in peace, because from you, my Lord, from you, good Lord, we'll get a crown. Be you praised, my Lord, for the bodily death, from which no one living may escape. And blessed are those which will be found in your will. And blessed will be those found in your will, that sister death will not hurt them. So St. Francis is another of my great loves, I must say. And I've been in Assisi many times, and I always feel very blessed when I go there, and I really tune in with his energy. This love for him began when I had my first spiritual awakening in 1972. That was in beginning of May 1972. And then, like in June, a few months later, they gave out a movie, Brother Sun and Sister Moon, which came in the first vision in Milan. And I went to see this movie, and it had an incredible effect on me. As soon as the projection of the movie began, I began weeping. I didn't understand why, but it was totally out of my control. So I began weeping in the very beginning of the movie, and I went on weeping till the end. I couldn't stop. So there, for the first time, I really experienced what it means to be intoxicated with God, and to be blissful, and this divine intoxication. That's what I experienced there for the first time. So this, it was a spontaneous love like this. And then in the summer I went to Assisi for the first time together with some friends of mine. And it was very inspiring and very uplifting, this first trip to Assisi. I'd never been there before. And I used to live in Milan at the time. It's quite a trip to go to Assisi. So I was very influenced by his example and his way, let's say. I must say, in the very beginning of my spiritual life, I was very much Franciscan, yes. I was very much their way, like a monk, really. I met Master Kirpal in 1973, and until I met Irena, which was in 1978. I never had a girlfriend. I never had even a friend who was a woman. I just did my spiritual practice. That's what I did for all the period, and very intensely. So I was very much monk-oriented, I must say, in the beginning. Anyway, then we traveled back to Milan, and I decided to start something like a spiritual commune. That was my first experiment with a sort of an ashram. I was 20 years old, not even 20 years old. So with some friends of mine, we hired a place and we made a kind of small commune or monastery kind of thing, in which we would do yoga, meditation, and live a very simple life, really, according to that style. And so that's how my love for this man began. I've been in Assisi many, many times, and whenever I go there, I feel very blissful, really. So this poetry which I just sang, it is his most appreciated poem, and it has been a very important poem which has inspired many other poets after him. Even Dante was inspired by this poem. It really began a certain of renewal of the way of making poetry in Italy. So, his life was very tough. He was, let's say, one of the very few Christians in the whole of history. Because to me, if you want to be a Christian, then you have to be that way, because that's what the gospel says. If you want to follow me, give up everything and follow me. Don't carry anything with yourself for the tomorrow. Just what's enough for today. Just one dress, barefoot. Don't have a fixed bod, because you're not meant to. It's a complete sannyasi, as they say in India. It's a complete renunciation. So if you look at the Christians of nowadays, who is a Christian? Nobody is a Christian. Because if you want to be a Christian, you have to be that way. Francis was a Christian, because when he had this first spiritual awakening, I don't know if you know his story, at some point he went for a war, because he wanted to become a knight. He was from a well-to-do family, and his father wanted him to become something important in life. So he inspired him to become a knight. And he went for a war with Perugia, then he was jailed for a few years. Then he became sick, he came back home with very high fever, and he began behaving strange. So after this sickness, he was not the same anymore. He understood that life is really, it's really useless if you direct it towards acquiring worldly goods. So he began doing crazy things, like giving away the things from his father, throwing them out from the window and giving them to the poor. And his father became very upset at him, and he took him to kind of a court with the bishop of the town, and see what this boy is spoiling my life. I've given him everything, and he's just misusing everything. He's ruining my life. So you know what he did at the time? he took off all his clothes, and he went to him and said, "Okay, these are yours, are not mine. And you are not my father anymore," he said. So he just left Assisi and he went to a church where he had this first experience, which is San Damiano, so called. And in that church he once was praying and staring at the cross which was hanging on the wall, and the cross became alive. Jesus became alive, talked to him and said, "You rebuild my church." So that's how this mission of his began. He became convinced that he had to rebuild this church, which was crumbled down, the San Damiano church. So he went to live there. Once he left his family and Assisi, he went to live in San Damiano. And the first thing, he rebuilt this church. And at the beginning he was alone. All his friends understood. He was quite an important boy in the town. He was very charismatic, so all his friends kind of loved him, and he was a central figure among them. So when he left and began this lifestyle, very poor, he used to say, "I get married to Madam Poverty. That's my wife." So he was wearing a very simple dress made of like those bags, in which you put the wheat. That's what he was wearing, without shoes. And so his friends, in Assisi, everybody thought he had gone mad. But then once one of his friends, called Bernardo di Quintavalle, he went to see him, and he said, "What's with you? Can you explain to me what's happening to you?" So they talked and talked, and he understood that he was doing the right thing. And he was kind of a lawyer, this Bernardo di Quintavalle. So he told him, okay, he said, "I want to join you." I said, "Okay, if you want to join me, you have to give up everything. Just go back to Assisi, give up your house, give everything you have to the poor, and then come and join me." So that's what he did. And he was the second one. And then most of his friends, they say 12 of them, because somehow he very much imitated the life of Jesus. He said Jesus had to have apostles, so he also had to have apostles. So all these friends of his went and joined him, and they began living with him this very simple, poor life, begging to get your food. And they rebuilt this church, and they were using it for doing their prayers, but mostly they were living in huts which they were just building with, branches and in the woods like this. That's how they were living. And then people began thinking that he was an heretic. So he was very much in danger of being accused of heresy, and at the time, if you were accused of heresy, then you would be burned alive. So they advised him, also the Bishop of Assisi advised him to go and talk to the Pope, see if we accept this rule. And he went to Rome with his friends, and he was very lucky, because the night before the meeting happened with the Pope had a dream of a very small man. He was a small man. They say he was kind of a tiny man, supporting the Cathedral of St. Peter with his back, just keeping it up. He was crumbling down, and by his support, the church stayed up. That's what he dreamed. And when he saw Francis the next day, he saw the same man. So he said, "Oh my." And that's why he accepted his rule, and then he told him, "Okay, you can go preach anywhere you want, in any church." And so they began spreading very much. This order of St. Francis became very famous all over Europe, not only in Italy, but also in France, in Germany, I think in England also, everywhere. There were many of them, became very popular. And of course, the church was very happy, because through him so many people were getting back to the church. So they supported him somehow. But then his very disciples became gradually his enemies, because, he was very God-intoxicated person, but not all of his disciples were as God-intoxicated as he was. So they couldn't live that kind of lifestyle. Sometimes they would have gatherings of hundreds of them, and he didn't want to organize anything. You need food, you need this and that. But he said, no, God will provide for us. We don't need to look for it. And actually things happen, very, very uncommon things happen. You know, farmers going with lots of vegetables and things, or bread and cheese, and bring it to them. And so they could somehow survive through these occasions. And so that's how it was. But they felt the need to be more organized, to have a shelter, to have a house, to have a place to be in. And but he didn't want, absolutely not. This is not the teaching of the gospel. Just read it. You don't carry anything with yourself. You don't have a house. You give away everything you have and follow me. You know, so big discussions began between him and the followers, and the church also that was coming in between, because they minded very much that disorder would keep going and find a way for them. So, yeah, at some point he had a vision in which he was told, don't consider disorder to be yours, disorder is mine, he said. He had a vision of Jesus, and so don't worry about, I worry about it, you don't worry. So he felt that he had to begin to withdraw. So at the point he said, okay, I'm not the leader of the order anymore. Pietro Cattaneo was one of his first disciples, will be the leader from now on, and he withdrew. And then he went on the Mount of Laverna. Laverna is near Arezzo, here in Tuscany. A very wealthy person gave him, as a donation, a big piece of land, actually a whole hill. And he went and lived there with Frate Leone, who was his very, very devoted disciple. And and he went through a very intense period of meditation there and prayer. And he was praying to God, show me what I have to do, because I thought it should be one way, but it's becoming completely different here. So what should I do? And eventually he had this experience in which these stigmatas came into his hands, and he saw Jesus like an angel, and from his stigmatas, rays of light went off and reached those very spots in the body of Francis. And from then on he had these wounds. And so then he was the very first one in Christianity to have these signs. And so he was very appreciated, really, was very worshipped and kept high up. And then he went back to Assisi, and after a few years he died. He died very young. He was 44 years old when he died. He lived a very hard life, and he became sick very often, and he had also lots of problems with his eyes. He had to be operated on his eyes, and so he died very young. Anyway, this figure, it is this character, it's very, very special personality, and he was a very holy man, really. And by the way, if you go to Assisi, you can still feel his presence there, and very strong, really. And what is special about him, that no matter, as it says here in the song, that God loves those who go through tests and troubles, and they keep facing them. That's what he showed with his life. He made a choice to follow the teachings of the Gospels in 100% way, and he stick to that for his whole life, even if it meant lots of troubles and lots of suffering. And now we can say, is it right or is it not right to live such a lifestyle? This is not important. What is important is that he stick to his own truth. Is it necessary to live that kind of lifestyle? No, it's not necessary. First of all, we must understand that the teachings of the gospel, if it is all true what they say, they come from a man from Palestine. Palestine is not Italy, it's not North Europe, it's a different kind of climate there. So you can follow the kind of teachings maybe in countries like in the East, where it's warm the weather and you can take it. But in countries like Europe or cold countries, how can you follow such teachings? You go without clothes, you go without shoes. Winter comes, it's very cold, snow and this and that. So, in my understanding, at this point of my life, many of these teachings are kind of useless because they don't really apply to the needs of we human beings. Even being a monk and a nun, from my point of view now, is not a good life. It's not a complete life. It's a frustrated life. Because we are social beings and we have a body, and most of us need to experience what's this body. And we are social beings, as I said yesterday, and we need to have a family because we learn a lot by having a family, by having children. You experience something that monks do not know simply. It's very difficult to grow up children. It's very demanding. And I can say that you learn much more by growing up a child than by reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Gospels, the Bible, and everything. So much patience is needed. So I know in the beginning I was kind of in favor of monk life, but I am no more in favor of monk life. I understand it as a frustrating lifestyle. So it's very important to experience life in all of its aspects. That's how we learn what life is all about. So in the course of the years, my point of view about spirituality in general has changed a lot. As I said in the beginning, I was kind of a monk myself for many years. But I'm very happy that I got married, I had a child, and I experienced life in all of its aspects. This is what makes us complete human beings. So to me, Sant Mat is the best path there is. Because you are taught to live a balanced life, to experience life, not to run away from life. So I appreciate St. Francis for his life, and he really stick to his own truth, and it was great to be able to live that kind of lifestyle. But I don't think at all that it's necessary to live that kind of lifestyle. Because as we see, as I said before, even during his life, all his people turned against him because they couldn't take it. It's not normal. So to face life is much better than running away from life. To face our responsibilities and become complete human beings. So it's good to get married, to have children, and to go through life, to make one's living and not depend on others. Begging is not a good thing. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not in the destiny of everybody. I don't say there must be for everybody. I'm talking in general. There are exceptions to all the rules. So thank you for listening to this satsang. I hope it was meaningful.